Welcome to Sohr Khai. I'm your ghost host, Reki. Sohr Khai is one of the newest dungeons added to Final Fantasy XIV Online in patch 3.3 Revenge of the Horde, and it has since probably become my favorite post-Heavensward dungeon. Whether or not that's just because of its novelty, let's jump into the former home of the Great Worm Ratatoskr and obtain Hraesvelgr's approval. The first part of the dungeon is just your regular old dungeon trash, and therefore I don't think you really need me to explain it. Just kill Cube 1 and Cube 2 and open the gate to continue. Next you'll be fighting a few Garden Cloud Traps and Sanctuary Skippers. Just burn them down. Then you fight an Enchanted Fan. Yeah, seriously. After they die, they drop this little whirlwind which you can jump high if you ever walk over it. I haven't found any uses for this yet, but it is pretty fun. Either way, just burn down some more trash and you'll be at your first boss in no time. Your first boss is Chieftain Moglin. This fight is somewhat reminiscent of Thornmarch, but not too much as it is its own fight. Throughout the fight, the chief will summon several adds. Handle down Captain Mogson first here. He'll be easy to find as he is tethered. Handle down other adds appropriately as to not overwhelm the party. These adds do not go away but instead get knocked out. When the chief summons purple circles on the ground, the party must knock all the Moogles out of its boundaries to avoid them being revived. I recommend once again getting rid of Mogson before anyone else as he seems to always be targeted. A good strategy is to always separate the Moogles before burning them down, to avoid overlapping. Something we didn't do too well, but oh well, trust me, it helps. Another thing you have to look out for is this flying staff that just explodes in a cross-pattern AoE that is unmarked, so just make sure you watch out for that. So handle down the adds, get them out of the purple circles, and avoid the cross-section AoE, and you'll have your first boss down in no time. The second section of this dungeon can be described in one word: birds. Okay, moving on. To avoid the butchering of this boss's name, I'm just going to call him Horsey. Make sure you're aware of the two walls along the sides, they become very important for a mechanic later on in the fight, which I'll get into in a minute. So at the beginning of the fight, Horsey's going to charge up a move called Quasar, and you're going to want to aim this away from the walls by standing in the center of the arena. Try to cause as less damage as possible to the walls during this first phase as you will need them later on. During the second phase of this fight, Horsey will jump up then slam back down, using this particular AoE pattern you should be familiar with now. Just move as far away as possible to avoid unnecessary damage. Horsey will then cast a large AoE which you need to stand with your back towards a wall to avoid taking electrocution damage. This happens several times throughout the fight, so make sure you have enough walls left. Every once in a while, a random player will get marked with this purple arrow. Just move as far away from the raid as possible not to get into their way, so they can go back to a wall when necessary. The cloud that spawns on you gives anyone a vulnerability debuff that stands in it, so move it to the back or side to avoid it being a nuisance. As you can see, you might have limited walls near the end, so just make sure you aim the quasars right and stand near the walls and you'll be fine. Here we are, Hraesvelgr. The arena to this one is a little bit similar to that of the Kraken from Hullbaker Normal, where you'll have to jump from platform to platform. At least there's no tentacles this time. This is actually probably the easiest and most straightforward fight in this dungeon, so don't worry about it. It's pretty easy. Going into the arena, you'll notice that there are a bunch of platforms with a bunch of wind spirals. You should know what to do from here. Melee should go right up to Hraesvelgr, where range can go wherever it damn well pleases. Shortly after, your screen will turn blue like this, followed by a bunch of pillars. Just jump to avoid the damage. Shortly after this, holy sprites will spawn, as well as a giant AoE. Just a simple kill adds avoid AoE situation here, except you must avoid the AoE because the land gets destroyed in this process. Shortly after, Hraesvelgr will cast Diamond Storm, which will spawn a few ice comets. These adds are unattackable and just must be avoided. Shortly after, he'll spawn these dragon head looking things, which are just like the ice comets and must be avoided. That's about it. Dodge unattackable adds, attack attackable adds, and dodge the AoE, and you'll find Hraesvelgr to be a pretty simple end fight. So that's about it for Sohr Khai. I'm Reki, your ghost host, and I hope you enjoyed. If you still require my help, I'll be posting other guides in the coming days such as Hullbreaker Hard, Weeping City of Mach, Nidhogg, and maybe even Nidhogg Extreme. They'll be linked here when they are ready, but thanks for watching and have fun in the dungeons. I'll see you again later.